Hi guys, in this video tutorial you will learn about ListView, how you can use the ListView, what are the different ways you can generate ListView within your Android application, and what are the different uses of that ListView. So let me give you some introduction about the ListView. ListView is a kind of you can say is a UI component. It basically used to display list of data, either from extract from the external server or web server, or you can get extract data from your local database, like within your Android application, yeah, which is known as SQLite database. So it basically provides a scrolling functionality. A list view instance requires an adapter to feed it with the data contained in row views. So I'll give you some introduction step by step. There are some parts and functionality within that list view or within that UI component. The first thing is rows. So what is a rows? The visible representation of the data in the list. As you can say, you can imagine the row word. That what does that mean? So just like this is a row. So that list view will display the data in row form, but two-way direction. Either you can display in horizontal direction or in vertical direction. That's your choice. The second thing is adapter. If you learn in your past about design patterns, then that adapter is one of a kind design pattern. So adapter is used to adopt something, use to link something. So it's a non-visual class that binds the data source to the list view. We will see how we can use that adapter. Then there is another functionality called fast scrolling that enables the user to scroll that list view very fast. Okay, the last one is a section index. That section index is basically used to locate your element within that list view. In other words, you can say a user interface element that floats over the scrolling rows to indicate where in the list the current rows are located. So there are a lot more functionality. There are primary classes exist within that list view, that how or that helps to display that list view within your Android application. So if we start with the basic information of a list view is a user interface or UI component that display a scrollable collection of rows. And open on phones, it usually uses up the entire screen, in which in case the list activity class can be used, or it could be part of larger layout on phones or tablet devices. The second thing is view. I have already told you in my previous video that what is view. A view in Android can be any user interface, any banner element, but in the context of list view, it requires a view to be supplied for each row. But if we remind that of the definition which I told you in my previous video, view is a rectangular area that occupies some space, that is displays some kind of UI components within your Android application. The next thing is base adapter. Base adapter is some kind of adapter implementation, just like adapter to bind something or bind some data within your list view. Then next is array adapter. Array, you can imagine the word array, and then the second word is adapter. So array adapter means to adopt the array or to bind the array data in your list view. Okay, so that array yeah, can be a string type, or whatever type you want to use. The last thing is cursor adapter. Cursor adapter will be used when you want to get data from your local database, so that like SQLite. So for that purpose you can use the cursor adapter to bind data from SQLite to list view or within your Android application. Okay, after that I will tell you there are two ways to display list view within your Android application. The first way is your XML way. You can use list view within your XML layout. And the second way is you can just programmatically design your list view within the main activity.cs class or activity class. Then that's another way. So this is our basic way of. Okay, now first we will get started with our some kind of you can say manual display section. First thing is we don't need that button, we need leave list view. So I just use that, and after that I close that tag so that I'm not confused that I skipped something. So first thing is Android ID, I name it to let's say list view. You can say, let's suppose okay, rename it user underscore list view. Okay, so I just name it the user underscore list view. After that I will set the width and height of that list view. So we don't want to use any other thing within the application. So I just set the width and height to width to match parent and height to wrap content. Okay, so you can also set height to some kind of match parent. When you need something below that list view, you need to add wrap content height, because whenever you add something in it, it will automatically expand. So we'll see after that. Okay, as you can see, when I will move to designer view, it will display nothing. So don't worry about that. Add some data within that section. So we have added in the list view in the XML layout. So now let's deal with them. It's by default code that will generate by Xamarin Studio ID. So we don't need that. So the first thing is we need to declare some kind of array that we want to then display within our list view. So we will use array adapter in this section. So the first thing is I need to declare some kind of array options. Let's suppose, sorry. Okay, options. Now we have declared an array of string in which we will add some values to to add data within that list view. So next is I will create a public method to initialize QA components. So we are use first list view. Okay, sorry, list view list. Okay, then I will use that list is equal to find view by ID. We will use list view, so we need to use that resource.id.user list view. So we linked our list view within our activity class. So after that I will initialize string array. So I will add some data in our string array. So I will add some data. Let's say I'll add 3 to 4 elements. Let's suppose you can say C++, Java, Swift. Okay, then PHP, and the last one is Android. Okay, now we have initialized our string array. So after that what you need to do is first you need to call that method within your onCreate method, because after displaying your layout, you will initialize your UI components and apply the other functionality on your UI components. So the next thing is, what you need to do is you need to add data within your list view. So how we can add this? So by just use that list object for the list view class I've created yet. List dot array adapter, sorry, okay, dot adapter is equal to new array adapter. So it will contain some parameters. You need to use those parameters very carefully, because sometimes people or mostly users, what they do, they will mostly skip the parameters. So you have to be sure about that, those parameters. So this array adapter will accept three parameters. First is your context, which means pointer to your current activity. The second thing is your list style, which is Android dot resource, oops, sorry, I spelled wrong, Android dot resource dot layout and dot simple expandable, or whatever you want, a simple list item one. I will check it out. And the third parameter is most important parameter, which is our array of string. So we need to pass here, so that it will adapt, a list view adapt something with the data. So I just pass that array to this array adapter. So we have bind data to our list view. So the next is, what you need to do is we need to apply fast scrolling on our list view, so that the user will be able to scroll it fastly. So the next is list dot fast scroll enabled. So I'll set it to true. You can also set it to false if you don't want it. So that's your choice now. Okay, we have applied everything on that. The next thing is, whenever you want, you will display that thing. It will call the list view and display data on your or within your Android application. All right, now we will deploy this sample list view example application on within our real Android device. I will mostly use that real Android device. So as you can see, Samsung SM, and now I deploy that application on my Android device, and I will show you my screen on that. So as you can see, it launches my a sample application, which is ListView. So as you can see, it's displaying some kind of rows within our list view. So that's a list view. If you add a lot of more data within that list view, you can also you will easily able to scroll it. So I will add some other data. Let's suppose ABC XYZ. Okay, ABCD. So it's some kind of a dummy data. So you can see easily that how scrolling works and how the data will display. So I'll just shut it down, and again I will deploy that application on my Android device. So I will deploy within a second. So as you can see, it's easily scroll. As you can see, a lot of data is displaying on that Android device using with the sample list view example Android application. So what we will do next, we will apply click event on each row, so that we will be able to display data, or you will be able to perform some furthermore functionality on your list view items, or you can say list view rows. So will do next, okay, now I'll implement list item click or list row click. So what you need to do is list need to apply click event on that particular or any particular item within the list view. So list dot item click plus is equal to list. As you can see, it's an categorized method, so I just use that. And as you can see, it's displaying my suggestion that where you want to locate that method. So I just locate at the bottom, so it will be easy flow. So here this method will contain first object is sender, the second is adapter view, that current on which row or on which list item you will click will pass to that adapter view. Using the e object you can perform a particular functionality. So next what we will do is we will just get the text of that particular item on which you will click and display within the toast. So how we will use that toast, I have already told you in my previous tutorial. So we will pass the first parameter. The second is you need to locate the data, or the locate the data or get the data from that item. So as we have used in the positions array, so we need to get that we need to get the data using that array. So positions, oh sorry, not positions, it's options array. We need to pass the index on which we will click. So e dot position, because it's an adapter view, so you need to find something within that. So options e dot position is the index on which row or list item you clicked. So we got that text. So the next thing is toast length dot short dot show. Okay, now when you will click any item, it will display a toast within your Android application. So let's check it that how it looks like. So we need to deploy it on our application. So let's see how it looks like. So it's deploying. So these are our list view items, as you can see within the array. When I will click on that Java list item, or you can say row, it will pop up the text within the toast. So when I will click, as you can see, it's displaying Java, XYZ, PHP, C++, ABCD, and so on. So this is the one way of using the list view within your Android application. The second way we will talk in our next tutorial, how we can use the second way to display list view within our Android application. So I hope you get that complete idea that how we can use list view within our Android application, how we can bind the data or add the data within the list view in simple words. So I hope you get it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we welcome you all of your questions, and we will love to answer those questions. Thank you so much. Good luck.